The awakening. The man opened his eyes slowly. The light above him was white and cold. It was not the warm light of the sun. It was sharp, almost painful. He tried to move his arms, but they felt heavy. His breath came out fast, and his chest rose, and fell like he had run a long race. He whispered to himself, "Where am I?" But his own voice sounded weak. He looked around. The room was not a room he knew. The walls were smooth, glowing with soft lines of light. Strange machines stood close. To him, blinking with green and blue signs. There was no smell of earth, no sound of birds, no touch of wind. This was not Earth. Fear touched him, deep and cold. His last memory was of a hospital back home, a bed, a nurse, and pain inside his body. But this was not a hospital. This was something else. He felt a soft movement in the air like someone was near. And then she came. She was tall, her skin pale like silver, her eyes glowing with soft blue light. She moved in silence, her steps gentle, like she was afraid to disturb him. She wore white clothes, long and flowing, not like any nurse he had seen. Before she looked at him and her eyes were full of sorrow, and then she spoke. "You must not be awake now." Her voice was soft, like music, but heavy with sadness. The man froze. He did not understand. "Why?" he asked, his voice dry. "Why can't I be awake?" The nurse looked down, her long fingers holding a strange tool. She seemed to tremble as if the answer was too heavy for her. "You must sleep," she whispered. "It is not safe when you are awake." Her words made his fear grow. Not safe. What did that mean? The man tried to sit up, his body shaking, his head felt heavy, but his will was strong. He stared at her, and then he saw it. She was crying. The blue glow of her eyes trembled as tears fell down her face. Tears from an alien nurse. The man's heart pounded. Why would she cry for him? She was not human, yet her tears were real. "Why?" he asked again, stronger this time. "Why are you crying?" The nurse turned away, hiding her face. She shook her head slowly. "You must not ask," she said, her voice breaking. "Please go back to sleep." The man clenched his fists weakly. "No," he said. "I will not sleep. Not until you tell me." The machines around him hummed louder, as if they were alive. The air grew tense, heavy. The nurse looked at the door, her body stiff. She seemed afraid of someone else, someone who might enter. Then she leaned closer, her voice lower than a whisper. "If you stay awake, they will come," she said, "and they must not find you awake." His blood ran cold. Who were they? What danger waited outside this glowing room? The nurse's tears fell faster, shining, like small stars. She pressed a hand against his chest, and though her touch was gentle, he felt a strange energy move inside him. "You are not ready," she whispered. "Not yet." The man's mind spun with questions. Not ready for what? Not safe from who? Why was she helping him? And why did her tears look so human? The silence stretched long between them, broken only by the soft hum of the machines. His heart beat louder, each second making the mystery heavier. He could not close his eyes now, not when the truth was so close. He lifted his head and met her, glowing eyes again. "You said I must not be awake," he said, his voice firm. "But I am awake now, and I want to know why you cry." The nurse gasped, a sound full of pain. She looked at him like he was both brave and doomed. Her lips trembled, her hands shook, and for the first time, he felt that her tears were not only for him, they were for something greater, something hidden in the shadows of this alien place. The door gave a faint sound, a hiss of air. The nurse's head turned fast, her eyes wide with fear. "They are near," she whispered. "You must not let them see you awake." Her hands reached for the strange tool, ready to put him back into sleep. But the man grabbed her wrist weakly. "No," he said, his eyes sharp with human fire. "Tell me first, why do you cry?" The nurse's breath caught in her throat. She looked into his eyes, human eyes filled with will, and in that moment, The truth sat heavy on her tongue, waiting to be spoken. The warning. The nurse's hand shook as she tried to press the tool to his skin. Her eyes glowed brighter, as if fear itself was burning inside. Them. The man refused to close his eyes, his grip weak but stubborn on her wrist. I said no, he whispered. Not until you tell me why. The machines around them gave a sudden pulse of light, as if listening, as if alive. The nurse froze, her gaze darting to the ceiling. A deep hum rolled through the chamber like thunder hidden in metal walls. They are listening, she breathed. Every sound, every word, it feeds into them. The man's throat went dry. Who? He asked. Who is listening? The nurse lowered her voice until it was almost nothing. The Watchers, she said. The ones who built this place. Her words cut through him like ice. Watchers. The word itself felt heavy. He had no picture of them. But his bones told him they were not friends. You cannot stay awake, she said again, firmer now. If they know, they will come, and nothing will protect you then. Her tears slid down her face, glowing faintly in the cold light. The man stared at her. Her fear was real, her sorrow real, yet her warning only sharpened his will. What will they do, he asked. If they find me awake. The nurse's lips trembled. She opened her mouth, but for a moment no words came. Her whole body seemed to fight itself, torn between duty and mercy. Finally, she spoke. They will erase you, she whispered. Not kill, erase. So no memory, no trace, like you never lived at all. The man's heart thundered in his chest. Erase not just death, but removal from existence. His breath came faster, his skin cold with dread. He tried to rise, his muscles weak but his spirit strong. The nurse pressed him back with surprising strength, her hand firm yet gentle. You do not understand, she said, her voice breaking. You were never meant to wake before the change was complete. Change, he echoed, the word sharp in his mouth. What change? The nurse's eyes filled with light as more tears fell. You are not only healing, she said. Your body is being rewritten. The man froze. He looked down at his arms, his hands, and for the first time he noticed, his skin seemed brighter, the veins faintly glowing, his senses sharper than before. Every sound in the room felt louder, every detail clearer. You are not the same as when you came here, the nurse said. They are making you into something else, something they control. The man's mind raced. He was changing into something not human, and the nurse was crying because she knew what that meant. They have done this before, she said, her voice shaking. I have seen others, strong ones, brave ones, but when they wake, they are no longer themselves. Her eyes locked onto his, desperate and pleading. You must sleep or you will lose yourself too. But the man clenched his fists, weak but burning with human fire. No, he said, I will not sleep. Not while I still have my will, not while I can fight for the truth, the nurse gasped, her breath catching like a wound had struck her. You do not understand, she said again. If they come, I cannot stop them. I cannot even stand against them. They are everything. They are everywhere. The chamber shuddered with a deep vibration, metal groaning like a beast waking. The lights above flickered, turning red for a moment. The nurse's face turned pale, silver with terror. They are near, she whispered. You have spoken too much, they have heard. The man felt the weight of her words press down on him. Outside the door, faint shadows moved against the light. Slow, tall, silent. The nurse's tears burned brighter now, falling faster. She gripped his hand tight, almost like a human would. You wanted to know why I cry, she said. I cry because I cannot save you if you stay awake. The man stared into her glowing eyes. Fear and sorrow filled them. But behind that was something else. Hope. He took a sharp breath, his chest rising with stubborn strength. Then I will save myself, he said, his voice firm. And maybe I will save you too. The nurse's lips parted in shock, her tears stopping for a single second. And then, the door hissed open. Cold air rushed in. Shadows fell across the chamber. The Watchers had come. The forbidden truth. The shadows entered the chamber, long and sharp against the cold white floor. The nurse stepped in front of the man quickly, her thin frame trembling but firm. The figures behind the door did not walk like humans. Their movements were smooth, too smooth, as if joints and bones meant nothing to them. Their faces were hidden under masks of metal, eyes glowing red like fire trapped in glass. The man felt his body grow colder with each step they took. "They know," the nurse whispered, her voice sharp with fear. "They know you are awake." The tallest figure stopped, its head turning toward the bed. A sound came from it, not a voice but a deep vibration that echoed inside the walls. The machines answered at once, their lights flashing faster, their hum now a roar. The nurse raised her hand with the strange tool, speaking fast in a tongue the man could not understand. The watchers paused, their red eyes narrowing. Then, as if satisfied, they turned and left the chamber, their bodies moving like shadows melting into air. The door hissed shut again, silence falling heavy. The nurse dropped the tool, her chest rising and falling fast, her tears shining brighter than before. "They are gone," she whispered. "For now." The man's voice broke the silence, low and firm. "Tell me," he said. "Tell me the truth. No more secrets." The nurse turned to him slowly, her face pale with sorrow. "You do not understand what you ask," she said. "The truth is forbidden even to me, even to those who serve them." "Then why do you cry?" the man demanded. "Why warn me if you are afraid to speak?" Her hands shook as she reached for him, not to silence him, but to steady herself. "Because I cannot watch another human lose himself," she said, her voice breaking. "I cannot carry that weight again." The man's eyes widened. "Again," he said. "You mean this has happened before?" The nurse's tears fell faster. "I have cared for many of your kind," she whispered. "Warriors, healers, dreamers, all taken from Earth, all brought here in silence, and none of them returned the same." His chest tightened. "You mean they are alive?" he asked. "Others, like me." Her head lowered, her voice soft and broken. "Not alive as you mean it," she said. "Their bodies move, their voices speak, but they are not human anymore. The Watchers remade them, stripped their will, erased their past, until only servants remained." The man's blood turned to ice. He thought of his family, his world, his name. He thought of being erased, turned into a hollow shell with no memory. "No," he whispered. "That will not be me." The nurse met his eyes, her own glowing with sorrow and a strange kind of hope. "You are stronger than most," she said. "That is why you are dangerous to them. Your will is fire, and fire cannot be controlled without chains." Her words cut deep. "Chains," he repeated, his voice sharp. "That is what they want. To chain me, to chain all of us." The nurse nodded slowly. "And worse," she said, "they do not only chain bodies, they chain time, memory, history itself. So your people will never know you were taken, never know you fought, never know you cried." The man's breath caught. The truth was more terrible than he imagined. This was not only about him, it was about all humans. The nurse knelt beside him, her glowing tears falling onto the floor like drops of blue fire. "You should not know. This," she whispered, "it is forbidden. It is death for me to say it. But my heart cannot stay silent." He reached out with his weak hand, placing it over hers. "You risk yourself for me," he said, his voice low. "Why?" The nurse looked at him, her glowing eyes trembling. "Because you asked why I cry," she said. "And no human has ever asked before." The silence between them was heavy. The man felt something stir inside him, not only fear but fury. His body was weak, but his spirit burned. He would not let himself be erased. He would not let humanity vanish into chains and silence. He looked at the nurse, his voice steady and sharp. "Then show me more," he said. "Show me the truth they fear the most." The nurse gasped, her tears stopping, her body stiff with shock. "No," she said, her voice shaking. "If I show you, there is no going back. They will hunt you. They will never let you rest. Then let them come, he said, his human fire unbroken. I would rather die as myself than live as their shadow. The nurse's glowing eyes widened, her lips trembling as if she had seen a vision long hidden. For a moment, the sorrow in her face turned into something else. Hope. The crying nurse, the chamber was silent but not peaceful. The hum of the machines was heavy, almost like a heartbeat that did not belong to him. The man stared at the nurse, her glowing eyes trembling, her face pale with both fear and sorrow. You asked why I cry, she said, her voice like a whisper of broken glass. Now you will know. She sat beside him, her silver hands folded tight, as if holding back a storm inside her. I was not born to heal, she said. I was made to serve the Watchers, to obey their orders without question. Her voice shook, but she continued. They gave me the body of a healer, the knowledge of medicine, but they did not give me a heart. That grew on its own against their will. Her tears fell again, blue light dripping onto the floor like drops of fire. The man watched her in silence. He had never seen such pain in any human nurse, not even in war hospitals back home. The alien nurse leaned closer, her voice low, trembling. The first human I cared for was a soldier, she said. He was strong, fierce and full of anger, but when he woke, he smiled at me. He called me friend. Her lips shook. I was not meant to understand that word, but I felt it, she whispered. And when the Watchers erased him, I felt it tear me apart. The man's fists clenched, his weak body shaking with rage. How many? He asked. How many humans have you seen erased? The nurse looked down, her tears falling faster. Too many, she said. Warriors, dreamers, children, mothers, all taken, all silenced, their voices swallowed by the Watchers' chains. Her words burned into him. Then why help me, he asked. Why risk everything for me? The nurse's breath trembled. Because you are the first who fought the sleep, she said. The first who asked why I cried. The first who looked at me not as a servant, not as a machine, but as something alive. The man's chest tightened. She was alien, yet her tears, her pain, felt human. You cry, he whispered, because you carry the memory they want erased. The nurse nodded slowly. Yes, she said. I hide it inside me, every face, every name, every last word of those who begged me to remember them. I am not supposed to feel, but I do, and it breaks me every time. Her glowing eyes met his, sharp and wet with sorrow. They are my forbidden truth, she whispered. The humans who trusted me, who died in silence, they live only in my tears. The man's blood burned with fury. The Watchers did not only erase humans, they forced others to watch and suffer in silence. His weak hand reached for hers, holding it tight. You are not alone anymore, he said, his voice steady. Your tears will not be wasted, not if I can fight. The nurse's breath caught, her lips trembling. You speak like the soldier, she whispered. The one they took from me. He said the same and he vanished. His will turned into dust. I am not him, the man said, his eyes sharp with fire. I am not dust, I am human, and humans do not vanish, we endure. The nurse's tears stopped for a moment, her face caught between fear and hope. You do not understand the weight of those words, she said. If you fight, if you resist, the Watchers will not only hunt you, they will break entire worlds to end you. The chamber lights flickered, the machines pulsing faster, as if hearing her confession. The air grew heavy. The nurse's eyes darted toward the door, fear twisting her face again. They hear when we speak too much, she whispered. Every word is risk, every truth a knife against their silence. The man's body shook, but his voice grew stronger. Then let them hear, he said. Let them fear the truth, let them know humanity does not bow. The nurse gasped, her glowing tears spilling again. But this time her face was not only sorrow. There was something else. A spark. You are dangerous, she whispered. More dangerous than I imagined. Your will is fire, and fire spreads. The hum of the machines grew louder, almost like a warning. The man leaned closer, his voice sharp. Tell me more, he said. Tell me what they hide beyond these walls. Tell me the truth they fear most. The nurse's lips parted. Her breath heavy. She shook her head, but her eyes betrayed her. They held knowledge too heavy to stay hidden. I cannot, she whispered. If I speak it, I will be destroyed. My mind broken, my body turned to ash. Then let me carry it, he said, his voice hard. If I am erased, at least the truth will live in me. If even for a moment. The nurse stared at him, her glowing tears shaking on her cheeks. You sound human, she said, but you burn like something more. The chamber trembled again, and this time, the door hissed louder. Voices sharp and mechanical echoed from the corridor. The nurse grabbed his hand, her eyes wide with terror. They are coming, she said, and if they see us together like this, they will erase us both. The man's jaw tightened, his fire unbroken. Then let them come, he said, his voice steady as steel. For now I know why you cry, and that truth is stronger than their silence. The nurse's eyes widened, her tears falling brighter than ever, and in that moment, hope rose where sorrow had lived. The hidden enemy. The chamber door hissed wide and the air turned colder. The nurse pulled back fast, her glowing eyes filled with terror. The man could see them now, the watchers, stepping into the room like shadows wrapped in steel. Their bodies were tall, too tall, their limbs thin but strong, moving with a silence that no living thing should have. Their faces were not faces, only masks of black metal, smooth and shining, with two red eyes glowing like fire trapped in glass. The man felt his heart thunder in his chest. He had feared death before, but this was not death. This was something older, something colder. The nurse stood between him and the watchers, her silver hands lifted, her voice trembling as she spoke in their strange tongue. The sound was sharp, broken, like glass scraping against stone. The watchers paused, their heads tilting as if weighing her words. Then one of them stepped forward, its red eyes burning brighter. The man felt its gaze pierce through him, stripping him bare. A voice filled the room, but it did not come from the watcher's mouth. It came from the walls, the machines, the very air. The subject is awake, the voice said, deep and cold. This is not permitted. The nurse dropped to her knees, her body trembling. Forgive, she whispered. It was my failure, not his. The man stared at her, shocked. Was she protecting him or sacrificing herself? The watcher's red eyes glowed brighter, the air shaking with its presence. The human must return to silence, the voice said. Erase the waking, the nurse gasped, her tears falling fast. No, she cried. Please, not him, not this one. The man felt fire rise inside his chest. Weak as he was, he forced himself to sit up, his body shaking but his spirit unbroken. You will not erase me, he said, his voice sharp. I am human and humans do not vanish. The watchers turned their red eyes to him and for a moment the whole chamber shook. The machines screamed, their lights flashing red, the air thick with energy. The nurse reached for him, desperate. Her voice low and fast. Stop, you must not resist, you will only draw their wrath. But the man clenched his fists. I would rather face their wrath than sleep in their chains, he said. The watcher nearest him raised a long black hand, fingers sharp like blades. The air bent around it, light twisting, gravity trembling. The man felt the pull, heavy and crushing, as if the watcher's hand could erase not only his body but his soul. The nurse threw herself in front of him, her arms wide. Please, she cried. He is not ready. He will break. Do not take him yet. The chamber went silent. The red eyes of the watchers flickered and the voice came again. You betray your oath, it said. You shield the subject, you hide the truth. The nurse's tears burned down her face, her body shaking. Yes, she whispered. I betray you because I cannot watch another human die into silence. The man's breath caught. She had defied them openly. The watchers moved forward, the ground trembling with each step. The nurse turned back to him, her glowing eyes wide. You must choose now, she said. If you fight, they will kill you. If you sleep, they will take your will. There is no safe path. The man's heart raced, his chest burning. But in that fire he felt something new. His blood, his skin, his bones. They were changing. He felt strength in his arms, sharpness in his eyes, his hearing alive with every hum of the machines. The nurse saw it too, her lips parting in shock. "The change," she whispered. "It has begun already." The watchers stepped closer, their red eyes burning like twin suns. "Subject unstable," the voice echoed. "Erase or control." The man's fire burned hotter. He stood, weak but defiant, his body shaking yet alive with something new. "You will not erase me," he said, his voice steady. "I am not your subject. I am human, and I will not bow." Nurse gasped, her tears falling bright. The watchers raised their hands, black and sharp, the chamber screaming with power, and in that storm, the man felt his blood ignite. Not pain, not fear, but something else. Power. The choice. The chamber shook with power, the walls groaning as if the whole ship was alive. The red eyes of the watchers burned brighter, their long hands raised, light bending around their black steel. Fingers. The nurse stood trembling, her body between them and the man, her glowing tears falling like rivers of fire. She turned to him, her voice low and urgent. "There is no more time," she whispered. "You must choose now." The man's chest burned with fire, his skin glowing faintly under the white lights. He could feel the change inside him, his blood like lightning, his senses sharp and alive. "What choice?" he demanded, his voice sharp. "Tell me." The nurse's lips trembled, her silver hands shaking. "Two paths," she said. "Both dangerous, both cruel." The man clenched his fists, his human fire burning stronger. "Tell me," he repeated, "now." The watchers stepped closer, their shadow falling across him, the chamber trembling with their power. The nurse's tears spilled faster, her voice breaking. "The first path is sleep," she said. "I can put you under again, hide your mind, bury your will. You will survive, but not as yourself. You will wake as something new, something chained. You will live, but not human anymore." The words struck him like knives. Live, but lose himself. The nurse's breath came fast, and she lifted her hand, as if to silence him, but the man shook his head. "And the second path?" he asked, his voice cold. Her glowing eyes trembled, her voice lower than a whisper. "Stay awake," she said. "Resist, fight them, burn with your fire. But if you do, they will see you as a threat. They will send everything, and you will die before the change completes." The chamber seemed to grow smaller, the air heavier, the hum of the machines rising like screams. One path was death, the other was slavery. The man's heart thundered, his mind racing. He looked at the watchers, their red eyes glowing, their power crushing the air. Then he looked at the nurse, her tears shining, her body trembling, but her gaze locked on his with desperate hope. "You must choose," she whispered, "before they erase us both." The man took a long breath, his chest heavy, his body weak but his spirit unbroken. He remembered Earth, the sun on his face, the laughter of his family, the pain, the love, the fight. He remembered what it meant to be human, and his fire grew. Raised his head, his voice steady and sharp. "I choose to stay awake," he said. "I choose myself. I choose humanity, even if it means death." The nurse gasped, her glowing eyes wide, her tears frozen in shock. "You are mad," she whispered. "Mad and brave. No human has ever spoken that choice before." The watchers moved forward, the ground shaking, their power burning brighter. The voice filled the room again, cold and final. "The subject has chosen resistance," it said. "Erase immediately." The nurse's hands shot out, grabbing his arm, her tears spilling like fire. "Then run," she cried. "Run before they bind you, before they tear your will from your body." The man staggered to his feet, his body trembling but alive with new power. The watchers reached out, the air twisting, the machine screaming, and for the first time he felt his blood ignite, not just fire, something stronger, something they did not expect. The nurse's eyes widened, her voice breaking. "It has started," she whispered. "The change is not theirs anymore, it is yours." The chamber roared, the watchers closing in, their red eyes burning like suns, and in the storm of power and fear, The man made his choice not only with words, but with fire. He would not sleep. He would not bow. He would burn. The cliffhanger ending. The chamber roared like a storm. The watchers stepped closer, their red eyes blazing, their hands raised like blades of night. The man stood weak but unbroken, his skin glowing faintly, his blood alive with fire. The nurse clung to his arm, her glowing tears falling faster. "You cannot fight them," she cried. "Not yet. You are not ready." But the man's eyes burned with human will. "I am ready enough," he said. "I will not bow." The watchers struck. A wave of force ripped through the chamber, crushing the air, bending the walls, tearing machines from their roots. The man staggered, pain tearing through his body. But something inside him pushed back. The fire in his blood exploded, spreading through his veins like lightning. The wave of force split against him, bending around his body. The nurse gasped, her eyes wide with shock. "It is not possible," she whispered. "You are resisting their power." The watchers paused, their red eyes flickering, their voices deep and heavy. Unstable anomaly. The walls boomed. "Human subject not compliant." Another wave struck stronger, sharp enough to tear steel. The man screamed, his body shaking, but his fire grew hotter, brighter. His skin glowed, his eyes sharp, his voice filled the chamber. "I am not your subject," he roared. "I am human." The machines burst with sparks, lights shattered, the chamber trembling as if the ship itself feared him. The nurse's tears froze on her cheeks, her lips trembling. "You are breaking their chains," she whispered. "You are rewriting the change." The watchers stepped back, their red eyes flashing like dying stars. The voice filled the chamber, again, but this time it shook with rage. "This must not continue," it said. "Erase both the human and the traitor." The nurse's breath caught, her glowing hands tightening around his. "They will kill me too," she whispered. "For helping you." The man turned to her, his fire burning bright in his eyes. "Then we fight together," he said. "Or we fall together." The chamber door burst open, more shadows pouring in, tall and endless, red eyes glowing in the dark. The nurse pulled him close, her voice trembling. "There are too many," she cried. "Even with your fire, you cannot win here." "Then, where?" he asked, his voice sharp. "Tell me." Her lips shook, her tears glowing. "There is a place," she whispered. "A place even they fear, hidden deep in the ship, but reaching it is death itself." The watchers raised their hands. The chamber filled with blinding red light. The man's blood thundered, his fire surging, his choice already made. "Then show me the way," he said. "I will walk through death itself." The nurse gasped, her glowing tears spilling again. "You speak like no human I have ever known," she whispered. "Perhaps that is why they fear you most." The red light exploded, rushing toward them like fire made of silence. The man grabbed her hand, his fire bursting through the storm. The nurse cried out, her voice breaking. "Run," she screamed. "Run before the ship itself turns against you." The chamber walls cracked. The machines burst, the air burning with power. The man pulled her with him, stepping into the storm, his fire clashing against the watcher's silence. The nurse's last words rang in his ears, sharp and heavy. "If you survive this, you will learn the truth they hide, the truth even I fear." The storm swallowed them. The chamber vanished in light and shadow. The watchers' voices roared. "Erase the human, erase the nurse, erase the fire." And then, silence.